Hello and welcome to What's Trending with Tire Review. My name is David. I'm your host, and today we are speaking with Mr. G.S. Sareen. He is the CEO and President of Omni United. Let's get to the interview. Mr. Sareen, thank you so much for taking the time to join us today. And I want to start here. So, of course, Omni United, it's got its headquarters in Singapore. I would imagine your market there looks much different than here in North America, where I am located. Can you help us understand, how does your marketing efforts look different in an area like Southeast Asia as opposed to somewhere like North America?
Yeah, hey, thanks for having me over. And Singapore is just our headquarters. It's a very small market, a country of probably 5 million people. So there isn't much to do here in our industry. But our markets are pretty global. So, we sell in over, I think, 80 countries worldwide. United States, of course, happens to be our largest market, which I think is about 35% of our global sales. But Southeast Asia, we have a significant market share in markets like Australia, Japan, New Zealand, Philippines, and bits and pieces here and there. The market, as I told you, it's pretty global. So I was in Sydney, Australia till day before yesterday. I'm off to South Africa tonight. So markets are pretty spread out. As per your question of how are the markets different, I don't think markets are different, just vehicles are different. So maybe there are some specifications which are different, but markets, if we go by what specs are different, they vary from country to country. An all-season tire which does well in the United States may not do well in the Philippines because of the heat, extreme heat on the road and conditions like that. The driving habits, load conditions of the vehicles, and so on and so forth. Sure. So markets vary from, not just size or the vehicles, but also the climatic conditions, the driving habits, the regulations, the road conditions, which directly relates to the affluence of the country, developing country, developed country, semi-developed country, and so on and so forth. So there isn't one size fits all kind of a situation, or it'll be difficult to put, Southeast Asia in one bucket and Europe in one bucket, and so on and so forth. Every market is quite different for us. If you want to talk about, let's say, Europe, where we are launching the new generation of radar tires next month. In Europe, you got Northern Europe, which is Scandinavia, where you have different specs. You have Central Europe, which is Germany, which is still a winter tire market, but very different spec from the Northern European market. Italy is again a very different market for the same kind of product. So it varies, and that's the fun part of business and a business model like ours, that we can very quickly adapt to the market conditions and deliver what the market needs.
Absolutely.
I hope I've answered your question satisfactorily.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely, for sure. Kind of springboarding off of that, when it comes to tire dealers, when you're working with your tire dealer customers, what do you see the needs of them being in North America, and how does that differ from, some of these other markets that you've described?
See, let's take a 60,000 above mean sea level picture, and then we can zoom down. Anybody who's in business, whether it's a tire dealer, tire manufacturer, wholesaler, they are all in it to make money. So that's the fundamental objective. So tire dealer in Japan is no different from a tire dealer in Brazil or from United States. They all want to maximize the bang for the buck. They all want to make money. They're all looking for a product on which they can maximize their profit margins. And what are the things that will help them maximize their profits are things like quality. Is your quality at par with the premiums? Are you punching above your weight in terms of performance? Are your designs better than the rest?
Hmm.
Are you a one-stop shop for them? Can you give them the whole spectrum of products, and they don't need to buy light truck from this brand and performance from this brand and passenger
Hmm.
from this? So that's the other thing which really helps. So I think it's quality, design, the range, and the availability. Surely the price competitiveness plays a role, but not as much as people think it does. I think the other aspects play a much wider role, because if you don't have those, you can give any price, it's not going to work. I mean, if the product quality is not going to hold, I mean, nobody would want to stock a tire even if it's for free, and so on and
Sure.
so forth. So I think these are things which dealers across the world look for. And then we have to customize this based on the geography that we are kind of doing business in.
I think that makes a lot of sense. And speaking of geography, of course, the United States, rather large country. Do you see geographical patterns? Do you see, more success in certain parts of the U.S., or maybe more love for radar tires in certain parts of the U.S.? Are you seeing certain trends or patterns that you can point to?
No, actually, I think it's pretty evenly spread out. Again, the demands. See, United States is a country, but it is United States by definition. It's a union of states. So every state typically has got their own identity, and as a consequence, it has their own political identity, ideologies, driving habits. What works in California may totally not work in Texas,
Sure.
for all the reasons I mentioned. That could be a very a green state where EVs are doing extremely well and people are very carbon conscious and environmentally sensitive, versus Texas, which is still probably one of the largest 4x4 markets. So I think it's not that where we have. I think we have a big enough range which we can provide to dealers across the nation. So we can actually give them what they need, and that is what is really fueling the growth. I mean, we're growing pretty much at a constant pace of about, I would say, 25 to 35% year on year. Uh,
Fantastic.
Last year in the United States, in the independent dealer channel, we grew pretty close to 80%. So all of this is coming essentially from understanding the market needs and providing them what they need at the point in time. As I said, they want to make money, so we have to enable them so that they can make money. And I'll give you a simple example. You give one product to a dealer, now he can literally own that for his market. But if the same product is available down the road with another dealer, then there is a little bit of a price competition, and that may drive their margins down. So this is something we have been very conscious from the day one as to how do we make sure that dealers make money, and how do we always try to stay ahead of the curve. EV market, for example, California is a very large state where the last I checked, I think the EV vehicles on the road was almost 27% or somewhere in that zip code, which is pretty high as compared to Arizona, which was I think 3%, or compared to Texas, which was I think 6%. I could be off by a few percentage points, but
Sure.
approximately this is the zip code. So it's extremely important to give the Californian dealers a strong EV offering for their customers, so they don't lose out. You can have all the great products, but if you don't have a great EV offering, and so we were one of the earlier companies to come up with an EV offering in all the prominent Tesla sizes, and that gives dealer an opportunity to really grab margin.
Yeah.
And so that's the way we have tried to work with. You can't ramrod a product across the nation. It doesn't work like that, right? As I said, for the obvious reasons. I mean, that's an EV market. Arizona isn't. Arizona is a very large 4x4 market. They need offerings in that segment and things like that.
Yeah. You mentioned 25 to 35% growth. I think that's phenomenal. What do you think is kind of the secret behind that? Is it having that product range that you described, the product availability, making sure that the dealers can have that? Obviously, you mentioned quality. Is there any kind of more intangible attribute to that growth that you think is the secret to that?
No, I think business is pretty simple. You see, I mean, whether you're selling, computers or glass tumblers or whatever, or tires, the business fundamentals don't change, right? You have to have something unique. You have to have a quality product. Without quality, people say, I've heard this statement multiple times from dealers, just give us something which is round and black. It doesn't work like that. I can give you round
Sure.
and black tomorrow. You go and put it on my neck. It just doesn't work like that. So quality is absolutely important. How do you build quality in a market, in a business model like ours? So we invest very heavily on research and development. A big percent of our budget goes towards R&D. And you can imagine if we are selling tires from Scandinavian countries all the way down to Japan on this side and United States to Brazil and everything in between. R&D plays a very, very... Now, what does R&D mean? You have to design products. Let's take United States. You have to design products which will work in the United States. Then you have to test those products with the products which are already selling extremely well in the United States. And so we always test our products against major brands. And that we know we don't have a brand which could be as strong as some of the well-known brands. We totally understand that. But that's the only handicap we have. There's no other handicap. When it comes to quality, when it comes to availability, when it comes to designs. In fact, our designs are absolutely current, very contemporary. If you pick up any product in the market, let's say you pick up an all-terrain tire, you will find that most of the all-terrain tires are pretty similar to each other. For the uniqueness of IP, they would do things which are not copying each other, but they are almost in the same colony. You look at one of our all-terrain products, it's completely different. It just sticks out as a different product.
Yeah.
Now, the conventional way it would be, why should we rock the boat? Why not just take one of the well-accepted patents and tweak that a little bit so that there is no infringement and launch that in the market? That's how it goes. But that's not the differential. You have to take a little bit of a bold step and say, what does an all-terrain product do? This is how it's supposed to perform in the market. These are the vehicles it will be put on. These are the terrains it should be operating on. Mr. R&D, take this back and give me a design which is nothing like there is in the market and come up with something unique. Then comes the design element. Design element on its own is not worth it if it cannot be engineered. It's a situation of architects and engineers. An architect can design, but an engineer has to build. And so the designers will design, and then the product engineers have to make that functional, that this would be able to perform. Once that is done, then we put it against the testing against the, as I said, well-known brand. So once you do this entire exercise, you have a product offering which is pretty compelling.
Yeah.
And then if there is availability, one of the unique things that we have is this geopolitical risk mitigation. It's impossible to predict in today's political environment, geopolitically, globally, as to where tariffs will come on which country. We don't know which party will win the next elections, what will happen. So there's a lot of uncertainty, for want of a better word. So how do you comfort a dealer that you're buying this product from me today, tomorrow, if some tariffs are imposed on this particular country, what will happen to your supplies? In our case, they are perfectly hedged because the products are coming from 6 different countries. So there is complete hedging. There has never been a case in the last 20 years that a dealer has been told that, sorry, we will not be able to deliver to you because there has been tariffs on China or tariffs on Thailand or tariffs on Indonesia or India or wherever it is. Wow. So that's a very strong value proposition. Absolutely. Then again, value propositions they vary from who you are proposing the value proposition for. For a wholesaler, this is a great value proposition. For a retailer, he doesn't care. He needs just in time. A retailer will be quality. A retailer will be design. A wholesaler will be range. A wholesaler will be geopolitical hedging. A wholesaler will be price. A consumer is service. Consumer is mileage. Consumer is, if I have an issue, who do I call? Things like that. So once you bake all of this in, this is the secret sauce. And there is really no secret sauce. I mean, it just takes a little bit of effort, but I don't think it's that difficult.
Yeah, I think you make a great point there. I want to go back to what you were talking about with the AT tires. So, obviously, a lot of radar tires, such as the one that comes to mind for me is the Renegade AT Pro. It has that kind of rattlesnake-inspired tread design. It really does stand out in the marketplace, and so I wonder, from an R&D perspective, how are you able to kind of blend that standing out, that almost to giving it kind of a marketing perspective that, hey, we're different, we look different than the others here, but then also ensuring that tire is still going to deliver on the quality, it's still going to give the qualities that you need in an AT tire.
Yeah. So as I was explaining earlier, we know designing is a very expert kind of field, and we don't have that skill. And if we are a global company, then we don't have the scale of designing that is needed to feed the market. So we have partnered with GFG Lifestyle, which is Giugiaro. These guys they were rated as the car designers of the century or something like that. Ferrari, Bugatti, you name it, your Back to the Future, Delores, all of these cars have been designed by this company. Okay. And so we entered into an exclusive arrangement with them, and we have outsourced our designing to them. And our Renegade X was the first product that came out, which was a pretty unique. It's got B-52 bomber inspired kind of things on its lugs. Very, very different mud terrain tire with very bold sidewall. So GFG or Giugiaro will design the product, and they give our R&D team 20 options. The R&D team then picks the most functional one out of them and presents to the sales team that, will this work for your market? Is this differentiating enough? And then the process begins from there. One design is picked, tweaking from the engineering point is done, compound construction, all of that stuff is done. One size is made, it's sent for testing, 99.9% it fails, then that is scrapped, further tweaking is done, another tire is made, 50% chances it'll fail. So it goes back and forth till the time the testing results come, which are absolutely 100% spot on. We don't take a chance in that. Once the testing results are good, then we start doing comparative testing. Then we will test that against, as I said, other well-known brands. There's no point in testing your tire against other well-known brands when you're still not confident of the product. So once you're absolutely sure, it's still not gone commercially. It's still in the R&D phase. And then this whole process comes up, and then finally the product is launched in the market. I mean, really, really cool designs coming up now. We are launching our, we call it Radar 2.0, the new generation. I think even today in our current form, we would probably have one of the market's largest range. We have over 2,500 SKUs in our range. We have in all-terrain, we have over 120 SKUs. We cover pretty much most sizes, most vehicles in the market. Now we are going, these products have been in the market now for 10 years. So now we are going for the next generation. Now you can imagine if 2,500 SKUs have to flip to a new generation, it's a lot of investment. Besides the monetary side of it, it's a lot of investment in time. Every product has to be tested. Every application has to be tested. And if it was just United States, it was easy. But if it has to go to North Europe and Central Europe, and then it has to go to the winters in Canada or Michigan or all seasons It's a fairly complicated exercise, but we are launching our 2.0 in Finland next month,
Okay.
in the test track in Ivalo, which is 200 miles north of the Arctic Circle. And so we are taking our European dealers there, and we have tested the tires extensively. We have tested them against absolutely premium brands in those categories. And we will be doing comparative testing where tires will be fit on the premium brands, a vehicle, and a vehicle will be with radars, and the dealers can test it themselves as to how do they brake, how do they perform in extreme snow, how do they perform in this and that climatic conditions. So, the proof of the pudding lies in tasting it, as they say. So, uh, and this is the way we are doing it. So, designing is a very, very important aspect of the business, outsourced, and then it is engineered to perfection. And only once it's done is it's launched in the market. And once the dealers know this process, and we involve the dealers all along. So when we are shortlisting the sizes, we show it to the dealers. We share. We have no secrets. As I said, there is no secret sauce. We share the designs with them. What do you prefer? What will sell, well in your market? Who's your competition? A lot of data is collected, and based on that, it is customized to that level of customization that the dealer feels that that's their product. They have been involved, and they have actually been a part of the whole development process, and this is how it's happening. So, have I answered your question?
Oh, absolutely, Mr. Sereno. I truly appreciate the very detailed answer there. I want to turn for a moment to sustainability. Obviously, Radar Tires has been one of the most sustainability kind of forward tire companies that I'm aware of for a long time. Very very early on, really promoting that sustainable aspect of manufacturing the tires, even being classified as a carbon neutral manufacturer in 2013. I'm wondering how you've been able to leverage, that attribute to your audience, to tire dealers, to the end user. How do you kind of leverage that to, enhance your business and help sell product?
So this is a very interesting question, and thank you for asking this. You don't have to leverage anything, because leveraging is it's like trading. That's not a cool thing to do. We also support Breast Cancer Research Foundation. We've been working with them for over 12, 13 years. We never advertise it. We never talk about it. It's just something that we felt we should do, and we do it. We don't leverage that. We don't. It was only in the first year when I did this at SEMA show, we had a big poster which said we support Breast Cancer Research Foundation, and I had tens of grown-up men come to me, thank me, tell me that their sister has got the disease, or mother, or somebody close, and it was very emotional. I took it down after that. I said, this is such an emotional thing. I don't want to leverage it. It's not cool. We didn't back off from the partnership with the BCRF. We continue to we've invested whatever we can, a hell of a lot of money in that, but there is no leverage. The sustainability exercise was also that. We started sustainability in 2011. Now, of course, it's a fashion statement. If you don't have sustainability or a carbon strategy, you will not get funding, or the banks will not. It's become now, which is 13 years later. We started this exercise. We invested $1 million back in the day with consultants to go and study as to what are the emissions that we are contributing in production of a single tire. And in our case, it was very complicated because there are multiple factories, and they go down to the detail level of the electrical consumption and how do the workers get to the factory, and where do they live, and their dormitories. And it's a very, very exhaustive exercise. It took almost a year and a half to complete that exercise. And we did it just because we felt that, you see, industry and environment will never go together. Never. If anybody thinks that industry and environment will go together, they're onto something else. Industry and environment are absolute, but how can you kill the industry? You kill the industry, you kill the growth of humanity. So you cannot kill the industry. You just have to figure out how do you offset the mess that you're creating in building the industries. That's all. It's as simple as that. And this is how I set out in 2011 with this exercise. We quantified how much is what's the carbon emission per product. Now, I don't know if I should educate you on this and you have time and the patience to listen, but carbon
Absolutely.
emissions are broken down broadly into 4 parts. One is the manufacturing footprint. So when you manufacture a tire, what are the emissions how much of carbon dioxide are you actually polluting the earth with in production? Then there is distribution, which is if I ship a tire from my factory in Thailand to United States, how much am I contributing to carbon emission in transportation of that product from the manufacturing location to the customer? Third is consumption. You drive a car, how much are you emitting in driving of that car? That's the consumption piece, which is the biggest. And the last piece is disposal. When you dispose a tire off, there are still some emissions. So how much is that emission? So studying this whole thing, I'm sure others have done it too, but we did it, as I said, 13 years back, and we've shared this with anybody who's interested to know this. I have always said this, and I believe in this, that one company cannot make the difference. This can only become some kind of a change if a bigger players embrace this, if they start talking about this. So that exercise is on, but we are still, so nobody's paying us a dime extra because we are carbon neutral. That exercise has not yet happened. It will happen because what is happening is in certain countries, the carbon tax is being imposed. And as the carbon tax starts coming into the regular day-to-day affairs of people, then they will start figuring out that there is something called carbon foot. Right now, it's still in the education stage. I don't know how long it takes. I don't know if it'll happen in my lifetime or not. But everybody has to start somewhere. We started 13 years back, so we have that much more runway we've covered. We have that much more thing. But I don't think we are getting any leverage. Nobody's giving us, nobody's buying a product from us just because we are carbon neutral. We've had people customers from countries like Germany and Finland and other places where they have asked us to get our certification audited, that it is not greenwashing, what is popularly called greenwashing. You say you're carbon neutral, but you are not. Sure. So we have engaged one of the top 4 consulting companies in the world to do a regular audit of our processes so that we are not, even if it inadvertently, we are not making a mistake. So we are doing all of those things. And again, the important piece is that it's not that we are required to do this from a regulatory point of view. No, we are not public list. We've not made any such commitments to anybody. But we are doing all of these things because we believe that this is the right thing to do. There was a lot of, before this carbon strategy and sustainability came in, there was a lot of hoo-ha about corporate social responsibility, right? CSR was the buzzword as to what's your CSR strategy like? Are you doing this? I mean, to me, CSR is not corporate social responsibility. The responsibility of a corporate is to run itself responsibly. Like, you cannot just be there to make money. There's no harm in making money, but going about it the right way is the right, thing. At least I believe in that, and I've tried to, walk the talk.
Sure. And it's amazing to me how often doing the right thing, what you believe is the right thing in your gut, does align with good business practices, and that ends up making more money in the end. So I think that
it always does. I mean, in the sense, you see, that also is a differentiation, right? I mean, today everybody's looking for everything is same in the world. If you want to buy anything, you're looking for that little difference. You go for a fashion show, you're looking for that, like everything looks the same. How do you differentiate product A from product B? They all have the same features. They all have the same, everything is the same, right? But you're looking for that little differentiation, and this also brings that little differentiation to the table. Whether people appreciate it today or not is a different issue, but eventually, hopefully, they will in good times. And even if our competitors start doing the same thing, I think we would have achieved our objective. We used to sponsor this lady golfer, and she asked me once before an interview in the month of October. We used to make her wear pink shirts and play golf with pink shafts in the club and all that stuff. And she said that, why are we doing this? Why do you make me do this? How much money do you make out of this? I mean, obviously, she was just curious. And my answer to her was, it's not about that. I mean, you are a golfer. People look at you playing golf. People get inspired by you if you play good golf. And if they know that you're wearing this because there is something called breast cancer, because most people in most parts of the world may not even have heard of what the hell breast cancer is. And if you can save one life, one girl who goes from a mammogram and was saved because she diagnosed it earlier, because she saw you play golf and she figured out, she went and asked her mom, what is breast cancer? I think our life is already worth it.
Fantastic.
We are building some specific products for certain countries in Africa where crime rates are extremely high. And a lot of those things are auto-related. If a lady is going and there is a flat tire or something, chances are that she may get mugged, hurt, killed. There are all kinds of things that happen. I spoke to the authorities and I said, why don't you make run flats compulsory? At least if there is an event, somebody would be able to get to 50 miles safely. A police station, some kind of civilization, right? And they said a few companies had tried it, but it didn't work out commercially. It's an expensive product. Run flats is a heavier tire, and so as a consequence, I gave this challenge to our R&D that can we make a semi-run flat tire? We don't have to call it run flat. We can call it anything. My objective is, if a woman with a kid is driving and she has a flat tire, can she get to safety with that? So can we do you may not do a 50 mile, can you do a 30 mile tire? Without charging extra to the customer. Obviously, it's going to cost us extra money. So we will, if we are making profits in some other parts of the world, surely instead of paying to the HIV victims in a certain African country, I can actually use that money by designing a better product which could hopefully help somebody.
Yeah.
And again, going by the same VCRF logic, if we are able to save one person, I think it was worth it then.
That's fantastic.
So this is how...
Is that product available today, or is this something that you've dreamed?
It's in design. We are testing it right now. It's being tested. It's already built. We're testing it. So hopefully, depending on how the test results come, if it works out okay, we will launch it. And specific markets, I mean, you don't need that in the United States, but definitely people where there are security concerns, where there are heavy crime rates. I mean, you can imagine, a woman going alone in a car and she has a flat. What the hell? What do you think is going to happen?
Sure.
So, that is more, when you say sustainability, that is also a sustainability situation, not just carbon strategy.
That's a great point. Well, Mr. Sareen, thank you so much for your time here. I really appreciate it. This has been a fantastic conversation for me. I hope you could say the same for yourself. Just really appreciate everything. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Absolutely. Take care.
Take care. Bye now.
Okay, that was fantastic. It's amazing to hear how different it can be doing business in different regions of the world, but then also how much it can be the same. So thank you for joining us today. We'll see you next time. Take care.